Karen's voice cut through the calm of that suburban morning like a police siren after 6 cups of coffee. "That's illegal power," she screamed, standing right at the edge of Grandpa's driveway, waving her phone around like it was some kind of badge. And I swear, the electric hum from Grandpa's homemade charger behind her made the whole thing feel almost cinematic, like we were about to get raided by the aesthetic police or something. I just stood there, a little shell-shocked, still trying to wrap my head around the fact that plugging in a truck could trigger a neighborhood emergency. Grandpa, though, didn't even blink. He finished tightening a bolt, dusted his hands on his jeans, and muttered, "If knowing how things work is illegal now, lady, you better cuff me quick." That's just how he was. The HOA hated him for it. See, Willow Creek Estates was one of those neighborhoods where you could almost hear the grass complaining if you cut it half an inch too short. The place was a monument to conformity. Grandpa's house sat right on the edge, old, a little weathered, and way too interesting for the beige people's comfort. He bought it decades before the HOA was even a thought, which meant he was technically outside their rulebook. But try telling that to Karen Mitchell, Queen Bee of the HOA. Karen didn't just enforce the rules, she lived for them. She'd show up with her little white poodle, Sparkles, and a clipboard, determined to bring Grandpa into the fold. Never worked. Grandpa used to be an electrical engineer. He could wire a radio from scratch and fix your lawnmower with a paperclip, all before lunch. He'd mutter things like, "If I need permission to use my own wall socket, we've really lost the plot." The real chaos started when Grandpa picked up that battered old Ford F-150 Lightning. The official charger's garbage, he'd grumble, shaking a crumpled manual at the wall. So, of course, he built his own. Not just a charger, either. He turned his whole backyard into a DIY power station, solar panels along the fence, batteries salvaged from old Teslas, every wire and bolt meticulously planned out. He even made a thick binder labeled for the nosy ones. That thing would end up becoming legendary. I still remember the first night he flipped the switch. The air smelled like solder and a summer storm. And when the little green light blinked on, Grandpa just grinned. "All sunshine, no strings," he said, like he'd just won the Super Bowl. Efficient, beautiful, and most importantly, completely independent from the HOA's grid. But independence is rebellion to people like Karen. It wasn't long before she noticed. Her morning walks weren't about exercise, they were surveillance runs. She'd circle our yard with Sparkles, snapping photos with her phone. One morning, Grandpa was adjusting the solar panel tilt, and she called out in that sweet, fake nice voice, "Is that an electrical device?" Grandpa didn't even look up. Nope, just a bird feeder with attitude. I had to cover my mouth to keep from laughing as her smile snapped like a twig. The first letter arrived 2 days later, perfectly folded, HOA letterhead, threatening immediate removal of unauthorized power apparatus. Grandpa stuck it on the fridge with a middle finger magnet. "They want a war," he said. "They can have a lesson instead." And that's when Karen escalated. Peeking over fences, whispering to the neighbors, spinning stories that Grandpa was stealing grid power or running a secret crypto mine. She even told people our lights glowed weird because of illegal current. The neighborhood started buzzing. But things really blew up the day of the inspection. Karen showed up with 2 board members and a clipboard. "We're here to visually assess your unauthorized energy operation," she announced. Grandpa stood on the porch, coffee in hand, cool as ever. "You boys ever read the Constitution?" One of them stammered. "This is a private association matter, sir." Grandpa just grinned. "Exactly. Private. You're on mine. Goodbye." And he shut the door in their faces. I swear. Karen's face turned an entirely new shade of red. "Nobody refuses the HOA unless they're hiding something," she hissed. That night, Grandpa quietly installed a motion sensor and a camera by the charger. "She's going to try something stupid," he said. "People like her always do." Sure enough, the next morning we woke up to Karen filming from her SUV, narrating like she was hosting neighborhood cops. Grandpa, unfazed, turned his hose and sprayed her windshield. "Accidental irrigation," he said dryly, as she screeched and sped off. That's when the split really started. Half the neighborhood cheered him on, especially after the last HOA fee hike, while Karen's loyalists acted like Grandpa was plotting to overthrow suburbia. But Grandpa just kept doing his thing. They're scared because it reminds them they don't actually own their lives, he told me. Just leases on conformity. The HOA sent another letter. Fines, threats, talk of legal action. Grandpa filled out their compliance form, scrawled compliant with reality, not your fantasies, in red ink, and mailed it back. Soon, neighbors started slowing down to look at the charger. Some whispered support. A few even asked Grandpa for help setting up their own solar. Karen, meanwhile, was unraveling. Her gossip now wild claims that Grandpa's forbidden charger would blow up the neighborhood. And then, just like that, everything came to a head. Karen staged an emergency HOA meeting, folding chairs, a portable projector, the works, right across the street. She made a show of it, holding up her phone like a prosecutor. This is the so-called EV charger installed by Walter Jenkins. She rattled off terms like voltage instability and unauthorized energy distribution. Grandpa sipped his coffee and muttered, "Bet she Googled that this morning." After her big speech, Karen and two board members marched up our driveway, waving a parchment letter demanding immediate removal and a $100 per day fine. Grandpa was in the garage humming Johnny Cash, tuning his battery array. Karen tried her best lawyer voice, but Grandpa wasn't playing. "Built my house in 1979. He said, "Didn't need permission then, don't need it now." She blustered about bylaws. Grandpa motioned to his thick binder. Every schematic, voltage test, state certification. Safer than any mess. "You approve," he said. Karen threatened an inspector. Grandpa grinned. "Hope they bring snacks. I like showing off." Flyers warning of rogue power sources popped up. Someone even posted on the HOA Facebook page that Grandpa's charger would explode if it rained. Karen organized a safety patrol, neon vests and all. Grandpa installed motion-activated sprinklers just to mess with them. Watching Karen shriek as she got drenched was honestly the highlight of my week. Then came the real showdown. County utility van rolls up. Out comes Inspector Wallace, clipboard ready. Karen right behind, grinning like she's about to win a medal. "He's here to assess the illegal charger," she announced. Wallace spent 20 minutes checking every inch. Wiring, insulation, even the voltage regulator. Grandpa answered every question, calm and confident. When Wallace finished, he just shook his head and said, "Actually, this is impressive. Safer than half the commercial units I see." Karen just stared. "Wait, what?" Wallace shrugged. "He's off-grid, ma'am. Your HOA doesn't have jurisdiction. It's not illegal, it's innovative." Grandpa winked at me. "Sunshine doesn't need a permit." Karen went home, red as a tomato, blasting out emails claiming the inspector was bamboozled by jargon. Grandpa just bolted a brass plate to the charger. Forbidden power, approved by common sense. By now, the tension was electric, no pun intended. Karen's crew whispered about legal loopholes, but Grandpa just tinkered and whistled. One Friday night, a storm rolled in. Grandpa stood on the porch, watching thunderheads build. "That's not thunder," he said softly. "That's karma charging up. Didn't get it at the time. I do now." The storm hit hard. By dusk, rain was hammering the roofs, wind tossing lawn ornaments like confetti. Grandpa checked his charger, green lights, all steady. "This baby doesn't care if the grid sneezes," he said, tightening a cable. But the HOA? About to catch a cold. And just like that, wham! The whole neighborhood went dark. Porch lights, street lamps, every perfect little box on the block, out. Except our place, still softly glowing, the forbidden charger humming in the rain. Neighbors staggered out, flashlights bobbing, shouting about transformers and outages. Karen shrieked, "It's him. He's draining the grid." Grandpa just laughed. "Sure, lady. And my tomatoes are causing global warming." Then the real mob came. Karen, umbrella flipping, HOA loyalists behind her, screaming, "He's hoarding electricity." Grandpa stepped out into the rain, calm as a mountain. "Ma'am, this unit isn't on your grid. It's powered by my solar storage." Karen jabbed her finger. "Lies. Nobody can have power if the whole neighborhood is dark." Grandpa just shrugged. "That's the problem. You all need permission just to have light." Right then, a county utility truck pulled in. Two linemen hopped out, radios crackling. Grandpa waved them over, offered his porch light. They checked his setup, impressed. "Off-grid isolated circuit," Grandpa explained. "Didn't even flicker. When your transformer blew, The lineman traced the outage. A central transformer had overloaded. Too many decorative lights, maybe. One guy said he found a crazy voltage spike. Traced it to 212 Maple Drive, Karen's house. Her face went from red to ghost white. That's impossible, she protested. My lights are compliant. Grandpa just smirked. If the rules were written by Clark Griswold, maybe. The linemen shook their heads, saying our off-grid charger actually protected the system from a bigger meltdown. Grandpa just nodded, sipping cocoa like he already knew. By midnight, most folks had gone back inside, resigned to the blackout. Our porch still glowed, one lantern of defiance. Karen watched from her window, equal parts furious and defeated. Funny thing about light, Grandpa said, the more you try to control it, the more it shines where you don't want it. I fell asleep to the gentle hum of the forbidden charger, knowing somewhere, Karen was drafting another violation notice by candlelight. Next morning, Willow Creek looked like a disaster zone. Soggy lawns, toppled decor, and a half-shredded HOA banner fluttering at the office shed. But our porch, golden in the sun, looked like it won the lottery. County Inspector Wallace rolled up with backup from the electric company and fire code guys, the HOA board trailing behind like kids in trouble. Wallace popped open the HOA's panel. Out poured the smell of fried plastic. A frayed orange extension cord ran right from the main line to Karen's yard. "Ma'am, is this your cord?" Wallace asked. Karen stammered. "I just plugged in a few decorative lights." "A few," Wallace said. "Looks like enough to power a carnival." Up to Karen's porch, where a half-melted power strip dangled from the gutter. "You're lucky the grid tripped," he said. The HOA president tried to change the subject. Wallace was having none of it. "Your infrastructure's a decade out of compliance. You'll be cited for unsafe wiring and negligence." Karen gasped, tried to shift blame to Grandpa's charger. But Wallace just shook his head. "The off-grid unit that kept your transformer from burning down? That illegal charger saved you. Be grateful." You could hear a pin drop. Grandpa gave Karen a gentle, almost pitying smile. "You're welcome." For once, the Queen of Compliance had no comeback. A week later, the county's official report landed. Fines for negligence, orders to upgrade, a special commendation for Grandpa's model off-grid installation. The irony? Chef's kiss. At the next HOA meeting, Grandpa offered to teach a solar backup workshop. Free, of course, wouldn't want Christmas lights taking out half the town again. By month's end, half the cul-de-sac had. Grandpa branded battery backups. He engraved a brass tag on each, designed by the forbidden engineer. He even made a wooden sign for his charger. Forbidden charger, powered by common sense. Karen still walked by with sparkles, but she'd slow down, muttering about reviewing regulations. Grandpa would tip his hat. As spring rolled in, the neighborhood relaxed. Lights steady, lawns green, everyone just a little wiser. But every night, after the sun dipped low, you could spot Grandpa's charger. One golden glow, silent proof that real independence doesn't ask permission. One night, I asked Grandpa if he regretted picking this fight. He just smiled. "Kid, you don't win by beating him. You win by outlasting him. Power's not just what runs through wires. It's what you don't let them take from you." Across the street, Karen's porch lights flickered again. Grandpa raised his mug. "Guess the grid's learning humility." And he looked at me. That glint in his eye as bright as any light bulb. The night the HOA went dark wasn't when they lost power. It's when they realized they never had it. So, tell me, what do you think? Is real power something you're given, or something you take back for yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Ever had to fight for your own patch of independence? HOA, family, work, whatever? I want to hear your story. And if you think more folks need to see what common sense can do, hit that like, subscribe, and let's keep this little rebellion glowing, one neighbor at a time.